And now for more on Apple, let's bring in Wells Fargo Investment Institute Senior Global Market Strategist, Scott Wren. Scott, welcome. I wonder if this level for Apple today could be a signal that AI sentiment has been overdone to the downside, those perceived as being left out of the AI story, because A, none of Apple's competitors has eaten its lunch using AI. And, people seem to be buying the features that Apple has short of the generative AI Apple Intelligence that it promised.
Yeah, John, I think that, Morgan brought up the broadening concept, and I think that's important here. It's, the market's going to the overall market's going to like Apple hitting new highs. But, let's face it, every time Apple has a product upgrade, and I'm certainly not an Apple expert, but every time they have an upgrade, the market's worried about sales volumes and all this. But, this latest iPhone seems to be really seeing a lot of demand. And, as an iPhone user, I can tell you that, if you have the Google app, if you have the Chat GPT app, I mean, you're crossing paths with AI-generated things every day. So for, I think, normal users, just your everyday users, which I'm certainly just a regular user, you're getting a lot of AI when you use your iPhone. So I think for me, looking at the overall market, which is what my job is, I think this just helps broaden things. And it's just an overall sentiment for the rest of the market. And, we're going to see good earnings from all these tech companies. We think as we move through the rest of the year, the other 493, we're going to see broadening earnings, broadening price participation as we move through 2026. So I think the stock market looks pretty good in here.
Is there, Scott, perhaps another signal in here about geopolitical tensions in China? Apple potentially caught in the middle here. As a matter of fact, we've seen them caught in the middle sometimes when it comes to tariffs. It's certainly an American name that China could punish, but iPhone's getting the subsidies. Apple continues to manufacture a lot of things, including a lot of iPhones in China, and it's doing relatively well there. And the fact that it's getting this bid and bad news hasn't crushed it, does that mean there's hope?
I think there is hope, and really, John, clearly in the near term here, especially if Trump and Xi meet, which, they almost certainly are, these trade issues are big, and they were on the back burner for, a few weeks or a month or two, but we saw in recent weeks just how quickly they can come to the front burner, and so I think that the market's going to have nice reactions, whether you're looking at the soybean market, the stock market, when it seems positive between China and the U.S., or at least less negative. And then, of course, we're going to see some downside here if these conversations don't go well. So I think that overall, you can be hopeful that we're going to make some sort of progress here with China. At least we think so. But in the meantime, if we do see some downside, and I've told you guys this before, I mean, we've tried to be patient. We took advantage of the April pullback. We'd love to see another pullback in here. We thought it had happened by now. It hasn't. But, we need to be ready to, and we want our clients to be ready to step in here, because retail clients still have a lot of cash in their accounts. They've been cautious, and a pullback is an opportunity. They're going to be nervous, but we're going to ask them to step in and buy stocks if we have the opportunity.